Greetings, friends! The latest update expands Adobe Lightroom's AI object masking capabilities. Lightroom can now detect things like mountains, water, and buildings in your photographs. I will show you how all of these new masking options work in a second, but first, a quick reminder. Remember that working with masks in Lightroom is an advanced image editing skill. If you are unfamiliar with the way that Lightroom's enhancement tools work, then please start with some of my basic editing tutorials before you jump into the deep end with this video. For those who already have the right background knowledge, let's jump right in and let's get started. Let's start with the sky, since that's the most dramatic part of this image. To make a mask, I'm going to tap here on the masks icon. When this box appears, I could tap on the sky mask button, but I'm going to choose the new landscape masking option instead, so you can see where this tutorial is headed. The Masks panel will change when this new feature is active, and will show us a list of the areas in this image that Lightroom's AI engine can identify. If I tap on the little box next to the word sky here, and then I tap on the Create Mask button, I'll have a mask for the sky. Let me dial in a little dehaze. I'll lower the shadows and the highlights, and I'll slightly lower the exposure. Next, I'll use the amount slider to fine-tune the strength of these adjustments. That looks great, and hopefully everything that I did with this mask is old news for you. So now, let's do something completely new. For our next mask, I'm going to tap on the Create a New Mask button. Then I'm going to choose the Select Landscape options again, but this time I'm going to choose to isolate the mountains. As you can see from the mask overlay, Lightroom's artificial intelligence nailed this selection. With this mask, I can punch up the contrast and the color in this part of the scene. Let's refine this change with the amount slider. And now, let's make one more mask to adjust the color of the lake. This time, I'll use the new Select Water command. A trick that I often use to enhance the look of moving water is to use a little bit of negative dehaze, plus a positive clarity and texture setting. I'll push things a little further with a touch more saturation and a slightly cooler white balance. Finally, maybe a little adjustment to the whites and the highlights. Let me close the masking panel at this point and show you a side-by-side comparison. The image on the right, the one with the 3 new masks, looks fantastic to me, and making these carefully targeted changes was a piece of cake. Let's move on to some other examples, and let me show you some of the other things that this new AI engine can select. Generating masks with the new Landscape Objects AI is easy, but what you might not realize is that the choices that you see inside of this part of the panel will vary from image to image. In this photo, for example, the AI recognizes 3 areas. As I hover the cursor over each of these words, the mask overlay feature will show me what the AI has detected for each option. The one that really impresses me is the option that says artificial ground. I'm going to skip enhancing this image because I want to show you how the landscape object masking choices change one more time. In this photo, for example, we do not have an option to create a mask for artificial ground or water. But we do have a new one here, one that Adobe calls architecture. If I activate this option, then I can quickly add saturation and texture into that barn. That's pretty amazing, and I have no doubt that the AI's ability to paint masks for us will get better and better as time goes by. If I were really going to fine-tune this image right now, then I would of course come back in here and add additional masks to precisely control the sky and the vegetation. But instead, let's move on to one more example. Once again, what we're starting with here is a photo where I've already done everything that I can to fine-tune my base image using all of Lightroom's global controls before I turn to the masking panel. I like to point this workflow pattern out in all of my masking tutorials because it's easy to forget that masking is a late-stage event in our image processing routines. What I want to show you with this photo is that you can use the new Landscape AI masks even on portraits to control your foreground and your background brightness. If I open up the masking panel, and if I choose Landscape, then two options will appear here. In this photo, I want to adjust both the foreground and the background. In this case, the area that Lightroom calls vegetation and natural ground. So to do that, I'm going to tap beside both of these options so they're both active. Next, I'm going to turn off this one, the one that says create two separate masks, so that both of these areas will be included in one mask group. I'll hit create mask, and you'll see that this one now has two components inside a single masking group. Now with some quick adjustments, I can make the foreground and the background less eye-catching. That might look a little overdone, so let me fade all of these changes back using the amount slider. Next, let me split my screen so that you can see another before and after. The after image is a stronger portrait, and even though these are called landscape masks, I think there are a lot of portrait photographers out there who are going to love these new AI tools. Well, there you go. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you learned something today, then please leave us a like or a comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in our next tutorial.